One of the coolest places that we got to stop here was the tombs of the Sanhedrin, Beit Sherem. We got to see a lot of places, but this is one of the neatest. This is actually carved into the side of the hill. These are the tombs of the Sanhedrin at Beit Sherem. Those doors go right in, and there's several different caves here to enter. Looking at these ancient tombs is just amazing. So let's head on in. As we go in, let me tell you a little bit about this place. Beit Sherem was actually chosen as the resting place of the Rabbi Yehuda Hanassi, who was the head of the Sanhedrin in the 2nd century. He actually lived in Sepphoris, also known as Zipri, but when he died, he wanted to be buried here. Now, why is he important? He's the compiler of the Mishnah, which is a rabbinical commentary on the scriptures. Trust me, in Jewish circles, he is a major figure. But you can see these things are just cut right into the hill. There's several different caves, and they go back and back. You can see all the giant sarcophaguses here, and they would actually be buried in those and then put stone tops on. It looks a little bit like it's Egyptian, but it's not. It's actually Jewish. After he was buried here, there were many more that wanted to be buried here, and they just kept adding on and decorating the sarcophaguses.
Now, this is something you'll see on a lot of these, is all and the eagle motif with wreaths. This is a common decoration. And on the side over here are 2 lions that are...
Like I said, this one cave is just humongous. This is probably the biggest of the caves, but it seems like it just goes on and on and on. It's huge. So the rabbi died in about 220 CE, and that it was then used for over 100 years for just more tombs. And people from all over the place wanted to be buried here. From Syria, the Phoenician coast, Yemen, and other distant places, there's inscriptions in Hebrew, Aramaic, Palmyrene, as well as Greek. Now, most of it's carved out of chalk, and so this spot here does show a collapse that happened. And yes, if you rub on the walls, you end up with chalk on you. But you can see all of these sarcophaguses here. They're just stacked up, and now the holes you notice, those are from tomb robbers who broke in and took what they could. But this one even has the horns of the altar on it, the corners like that. So this would have been a priest. You see the little alcoves, they're there. That's where they would have put oil lamps. And then just stacks and stacks of sarcophaguses. And you can see in this room they go back, and in this case the sarcophagus was carved into the wall, and then they would put a lid on top of it. So each one of those lids actually represents a sarcophagus that's underneath it. And you can see the holes knocked into them from the tomb robbers. Some people. And more, and more, and more. Now, what's really cool is the work of art on some of these. Now, this is one that was actually in process of being done. You can see Don's pointing out where they had made the etchings to get ready to finish carving it out. But they never finished this one. It was just sitting here waiting to get used. Now, the city itself, there are city ruins that are nearby as well. The city was destroyed and burned in the 4th century, and then the Muslims came in and they called the hill of Beit Sherem Sheikh Abrik, because there's actually a Muslim tomb up on the hill by the city ruins that marks his burial place. But there's several of these. There are 7 or 8, 9 caves that are actually opened. There are a couple that haven't been excavated yet. So there's still more here waiting to be discovered. And yeah, this one actually shows lions. Okay, I know they don't look much like lions, but you can see the scruff on the back. That's the mane. After that, we went over to this one. This is a little bit smaller, but you can see another sarcophagus carved into the wall. The slabs were put on top to help cover it up. And then you would also find spaces like this hole in the wall that Jack just lit up. Let me show you inside and give you a little bit of an idea of what it would have looked like back then. You can see space, and over on the side would have been where they would have put the dead loved ones. It's just really neat to walk around and explore and see so much. Here's a family plot where they would have been buried together. So much to explore in it. They do also have another place where you can see some of the Greek inscriptions. This hall, this is up near the front entrance, also has a giant slab of glass that they messed up when they were making it, and it just looks like rock. It didn't come out, and they just left it. But it'll give you an idea of what's going on. This is a great place to start here as well. But it's also a very popular place for families, especially on Shabbat. So there was families and kids everywhere. But after that, though, we then headed down to the Jordan River and the Yardenit. This is a common place for Christian pilgrims to come to conduct baptisms. And so, hey, we decided to come down. It was interesting, though. The main gift shop was closed. It was quiet. You could see they're missing tourists, but a pretty place. Each one of these different signs here all have the same passage of scripture, but in different languages. And you can see the whole front area is just covered with these. It's really neat to see all the different languages. And as we came over here by the entrance, the main entrance, it's not being used now. You have to go in the side entrance. But we did have to pose Margaret over there in front of the Spanish version. And there's a little closer look at the Spanish. There's gift shop is all closed. Actually, it doesn't look like it's been open in quite a while, so I guess they've been working just out of the other entrance. And it's just kind of weird having nobody here. Hopefully the tourists are able to come in soon. But normally the restaurant, and you can see it's all closed. It's been closed for quite a while. I mean, even the steps and things are falling into disrepair because they just don't have people coming in. Really sad. And then across the way, what was that, a train?
These are the righteous transition.
Oh, I did not know that was over here. What I was looking at is, let's see, there it is Hosies. You can smell them over here, though. This is actually really neat. There's a whole large garden back here that has all these trees that are dedicated to heroes of the Holocaust, people who weren't Jewish necessarily, but who helped save the Jews in the Holocaust. There's also a number of dedication plaques for people who have donated and planted memorial trees. It's really kind of neat to just walk through and see all the different dedications and all the different people who've contributed to help this. Just some of the stories that are there. I do wish they had a book that would actually say who all these people were and the stories behind them. That would make it neat. But it's a neat place to just kind of walk and contemplate and look at people who've blessed the Jewish people over the times of history. My wife actually got to baptize our son in the Jordan.
On your confession to Jesus Christ, our
There you go.
It's not so cold, man.